On October 21st, IBJ unveils the 2025 Women of Influence. Join us to celebrate Indy's most inspiring leaders and hear the powerful stories behind their success. Don't miss this moment. Register now at ibj.com/influence 2025.
Kristen, Dane. True breaking news here on the Pete the Planner podcast. Dame,
Yeah.
you know the breaking news, silly.
I thought maybe I was getting a promotion. I was getting excited.
No, there's a baby.
Oh, that breaking news.
Ladies and gentlemen, Margaret is here. Margaret has been born.
I mean, not here, but
She's not here.
yeah.
We did receive a donkey emoji,
Two.
but they're not twins. So that rude man at the wedding that thought Chris was having twins is disappointed. There is one additional human. That woman, it's a woman. It's a baby woman. Its name is Margaret.
And someday, maybe you'll see a picture of her, but probably not the face.
Probably not.
Kristen's not down with that. So you might see an image.
Yeah.
I almost sent you a Slack this week, Pete, to see if you could do like a cartoon image that goes in the show.
I thought about it.
Yeah.
So here's what I know in terms of details of how everything went down. It was last weekend, and everyone's healthy.
Yep, that's it.
That's what we know. That's in a lovely way. That is the most Kristen thing ever.
I mean, and she would have told us details, I'm sure, if we wanted, like the standard, how long, how much did she weigh, stuff like that. But we are true to our gender, and we just didn't ask those details.
Yeah, Mrs. Planner was like, "Oh, well, how big was the baby?" Like, I don't know. You text her.
Doesn't matter.
I think the weirdest question in human history is asking someone how long their baby is.
I think it's a silent competition amongst mothers to say who suffered more.
Well, I mean, weight, I get, but like length, I mean, it's like, it's 39 inches. I don't know what a lot is. I think I was 23 inches.
I don't know.
But it's like, oh my, wow, that's a 52% baby right there. Like, how long was it? Who cares?
Yeah, it's halfway to toddler.
Yeah, the two men discussing childbirth always goes well.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people expect.
So anyway, Chris is fine. Who knows? She could be watching. I doubt she's watching week one.
I hope she's sleeping, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. Dame, how are you?
I did not have a kid, so I'm feeling great.
I was in the Dallas airport yesterday, one of the Dallas airports, DFW, down for whatever, as they call it. And I saw a woman that I thought was your wife.
Well, if it was my wife, she's going to have some splaining to do.
It was so much so, I told you this right before we went to air, that I walked by this woman a couple different times and under my breath just went, Cass.
Yeah.
If you're not listening for your name, you wouldn't hear it. But if it is your name and someone goes, Cass, then you would turn and go, oh, hey, Pete. That's how much you look like your wife.
You could put a phone up to your ear and be like, hey, Cassie. And if she turned around, it's like, oh, Cassie. And they tried to play it.
Another Cassie. I have two Cassies.
What I can't believe is you didn't take a picture from a distance. I mean,
I did take one travel photo yesterday and I sent it to a friend because I'm going to see if I can show it to you. I'm going to try to walk up to the camera.
Okay.
And see what I can do here. Okay. You're not
hear
me well.
Okay. Peter's coming on. It's a little blurry. I can't perfectly see it, but is it a very aged James Hetfield?
It's a man wearing a Gulf of America 25 hat.
Oh,
And I just
okay.
thought, what's the audience? What's the message? Like, I'm all for political hats. Like, hey, you wear a MAGA hat. I get it. Whatever. It's your thing. The Gulf of America 25 hat is like, is it a campaign to, or is it a troll? Like, what is it's like Gulf of America 25? Like, what did he do hat wise prior to that purchase as part of
No
that?
hats. No. Well, maybe it was a sombrero just to protect from the sun. But now that he's got something really that he wants to advertise and promote,
Yeah.
Gulf of America. There we go.
I don't know. I thought it was interesting. All right. What?
I just took a sigh. That was our 5-minute fizz though, which I didn't hear. Maybe you heard it.
I didn't hear it. Dave, government is shut down
Still.
Next Wednesday, I believe, the day we do not pay those in the armed forces for.
Yeah, that's not funny. Sorry.
Yeah, you were thinking taxes.
It was just the way you were setting it up. I was like, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. So of course, people get back pay theoretically when this is all said and done. I think what personal finance experts the like of Damian Andrew Dunn knows that while in theory someone is made whole, doesn't exactly work that way because most people live paycheck to paycheck. So there is damage done.
Sure. I mean, if they don't have cash to spend on the daily, monthly needs, they're going to find a way to pay for it. If that means putting it on credit card, okay. If you can make that line up, okay, you'll probably get that paid off before any interest accrues. But if it doesn't, now you're going backwards. That's not a good equation.
Yeah. So, to all the federal workers out there of all shapes and sizes and branches and whatever, sorry you're going through this. Well,
it stinks.
I hope the other government workers who are still getting paid can figure this out. Congress still gets paid, right?
I mean, do you really think they'd go through this if they didn't?
I don't know. I mean, do we have a definitive there? You want to chat that real quick for us?
I'm pretty sure they do, which seems completely backward on this, but they should be the first people not paid.
Now I got to look.
In fact, they should sacrifice all of the income from that congressional session if they allow this to happen.
Andy says they definitely get paid.
There we are.
And if she says it, it's true.
Must be. That's good enough for me.
All right. Well, let's see if Chad agrees with Andy.
Maybe Andy.
Yes, they still get paid. What? Why? Here's the why.
Yeah, this will be good.
Members' salaries are funded via permanent appropriation, not through the annual appropriations bills that lapse during a shutdown.
How convenient.
The U.S. Constitution, or Article 1, Section 6, says that senators and representatives shall receive a compensation paid out of the Treasury. And because their pay is not dependent on the discretionary spending bills that are affected by shutdowns, they are not subject to furloughs. That sucks. I mean,
that's got to change.
Okay. Like, is there anyone not in Congress who wants Congress paid during a shutdown of their causing?
No, but if you said it's in the Constitution, Article 1 or whatever?
Article 1, Section 6, it just says they shall receive a compensation paid out by the Treasury. I think that's a loose. I think the first one is the permanent appropriation is the issue.
So we wouldn't have to convene a constitutional convention of the states to get this to happen, because it'll never get through Congress, obviously. It would have to happen through a groundswell, but I'm still a little iffy on the logistics we would need to get this taken care of. So our Congress critters wouldn't have a say in it. We'd just be able to tell them what's going to happen.
Yeah. John asked a great question. So they've got an amazing pension and savings plan, Congress. Let's see if that freezes as well. John wants to know, does their savings plan freeze?
Seems unlikely.
I doubt so. Yeah, Dame, I want to really play devil's advocate here for a second, and we're not going to get weird, but I'm just literally, do you think, what is the non-congressional justification. Like, let's say I believe they should still be getting paid right now.
You as Peter Dunn.
Peter Dunn. Why, if a person like me were to believe that, what is it they would have to believe in order to believe that people should still be getting paid in this circumstance?
Maybe that they would not have money to pay rent or anything. They would just go back to their district and not be available for votes or anything. They have to be able to afford to be there in order to transact business and get out of this situation.
Well, I was just on an airplane yesterday in which the air traffic controllers who are determining my fate are not getting paid.
Yeah, that's great.
By the way, the TSP does not get frozen during shutdown. Hello, Lee Eisenbarth. Hello, Danza De Luna. Dame, I was in Texas for a couple days this week, and here's what I know. People are very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I expected to see literally everyone carrying a gun on their hip like a Texas cowboy, but not in like a weird. I was actually looking forward to. I just wanted to I don't know.
Old school 6-shooter hanging a little bit low on the right hip with the ammo lined up around the outside. It was spurs jangling as they walked down the street.
Yeah, and didn't see a single firearms. I will tell you this before we get to this financial show we're on. I found this gym to work out in yesterday morning called Hunger in the Wild.
Oh man, that is interesting.
And if nothing else, I'm pretty self-aware. So I know the gym I work out at now every day is very bougie.
Uh-huh.
Okay, very. Hunger in the Wild, though, my friend, was gritty.
Yeah?
Gritty. And I loved it. There was a German Shepherd just hanging out in there. There were no mirrors. There was just like Olympic weightlifting pads and racks, and that's it.
No mirrors.
No mirrors.
I couldn't tell you the last time I was in any kind of exercise facility, whether it's, the YMCA or some other, paid gym that didn't have mirrors. That is amazing.
Hunger in the Wild. I loved it. Anywho's. Last note, I spoke at a conference down there, and I just go and I sort of figure out things the morning of. I don't know.
Thing you possibly could have said, yes.
Yeah. So I get my workout in, I come back to the hotel, get a quick shower, grab my phone. I'm like, all right, where's the conference here? Like, what ballroom of this hotel? And it's in that moment I realize that I'm in the overflow hotel, that I'm actually speaking at a different hotel.
Oh.
And so then I had to get to a different hotel. But I didn't know that until like 5 minutes before I was headed towards a ballroom of not knowing.
Question for you.
Yeah.
In those cases, do you Uber from one place to the other so you don't have to worry about parking? Because it really comes down to the parking situation in this instance.
Yeah, this is a great question. And thank you for knowing who I am. Yeah. It's absolute Uber.
Okay.
Absolute Uber.
I think it's smart.
Yeah. Thanks for your question, Dame. We have a financial show, and let's see what we can do about it. On the count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show works. You email us, askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's askpete@petetheplanner.com. We'll read your question to ourselves, discuss whether we find it relevant to other people's interests, and then answer the question on the show and talk about it for an hour. When I say we, I mean at least Damian Andrew Dunn, my co-host. Hello, Dame.
Hello, Pete.
And for regular listeners, a very happy birthday to our co-host Kristen's baby daughter who was born last weekend.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Margaret. You're 0. Wait.
Yes.
How does that work?
She's just a matter of days at this point. She's no longer 0, although according to Kristen, she was 0 until last weekend.
Maybe we'll sort through that in the break. And if you ever want to listen to what we talk about during the break, download the Pete the Planner podcast. Dame, you know this, I know this, and this is how we make our living. Really smart people do dumb things with money a lot. They're well-intentioned sometimes. They think they're smarter than math. And so this entire episode is, why do smart people do dumb things with money? And let's begin with an obvious statement that I would like you to reflect on.
Okay.
Brains don't equal behavior. Discuss.
Yeah, no. I mean, if it was easy enough to control our behavior or the things we said just by being conscious and being cognizant of what's going on around us, then we wouldn't have nearly as many issues in our lives as we all do. Unfortunately, there seems to be a disconnect around different parts of our lives when we're being thoughtful and intellectual and using our brain power to solve a more analytical problem. That's one part of it, but anytime the emotion side of things starts to creep into the decision-making process, that's where things can get wonky really, really quick. And then you throw money into the equation and things just seem to go up in flames even faster because, as our co-host Kristen often likes to say, if money was just math, it wouldn't be that big of an issue, but it's not. It's way more than math. There's emotion tied to it, which is why when people like Pete and I can talk about your money, it's much easier for us to talk about it rather than to you to self-prescribe the eventual solution. So yeah, it is absolutely a challenge to balance behavior decisions with money.
This gets especially problematic when you have a very educated person with a very capable income.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a terrible combination. You know what? This is crazy. It's a financial show. And the premise is, if you're really smart and you've got a really nice income, that's dangerous. And Dame, that's wild to say aloud.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing well, pretty intelligent individual, you often think that just carries over to every aspect of your life, and sometimes it will. Sometimes you can absolutely parlay whatever experience and knowledge you've got in one spot to another. That doesn't always connect when it comes to money and your own finances because of whether you think you can outsmart something that somebody else hasn't figured out yet, or that it's just different for you because you see things. It doesn't always work that way, and you get in your own way because, well, I mean, you've had success before in this other area. Why wouldn't you have success in this area too? And it just, I wish it was that simple.
So let's hit 3 of the vulnerability points that intelligent people deal with. And the first, I would say, is pretty obvious. And the funny thing about it, which I'm going to deploy on you momentarily, is that in itself, a person who is doing this believes they're not doing this because they're so smart. And that is the act of overconfidence, which I think is one of the funniest things in the world. When you tell a smart person, I think you've got too much confidence in this situation, of like, oh, no, that's where you're wrong. I know better than that. And in fact, it's double overconfidence. And that's where people find themselves trying to outthink the market.
I literally just had a conversation with somebody that fits this mold this week. It will probably come as very little shock to you that it was around the topic of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin in specific. And they are an ardent believer, all in, and they can talk a really, really good game on why, in their opinion, not investment advice, that it is the only asset class worth investing in for the foreseeable future. I mean, so now what makes it really, really dangerous is some of the things they were saying make sense. There is truth, or at least a shred of truth, to a lot of things they say. And it doesn't take a huge leap, especially for somebody who may not be quite as familiar with this environment as you and I are, to say, you know what, they might be onto something. So not only are they potentially sabotaging their own financial life, they're spreading it to other people and potentially causing financial harm to others just because others may see them as, smart, intelligent, successful, high income, whatever it may be. And if this is what they're doing, then it must be right. And it causes significant issues outside of their own little circle.
I don't know why I'm going here, but you start talking about that. The first person I think of is Dave Portnoy giving investment advice publicly. Yeah. It's like, and also the fact that you said the B word, you said this person believes. And it's like, do you have to believe in a speculative investment? I mean, that's a strange rabbit hole to go down to too, right?
Yeah, I mean, believe to what degree? I mean, if I believe I can get in and make some cash and get out, which could be overconfidence, by the way, because I can time it. I understand the timing of these things and I'll know when to jump out. It can be a huge issue. So belief, I think you have to at least have a base level of belief and confidence in what's going on, so it doesn't harm you. You're not going to jump into something that you believe there's a higher level of coming out on the negative side. But I think belief is a huge part of it, not only in the investment, but in yourself.
Complexity bias falls into this too. The old, well, if it's complicated, it must be right. I think a good example of this, and we're going to throw random professions under the bus because that's what we're doing today. Physicians day trading options, going, well, this is one of the most complicated thing you can do financially. And I'm very smart. I've gone to 17 years of post-college school.
Sure.
I can't even say the words. That's how unintelligent I am. So I can handle the most complex financial trades. That complexity bias often dips its toe into very strange risk tolerance.
Yeah, when you said if the complicated it must be right, I was thinking the sales pitch for some annuities is just kind of or life insurance. I'll call them schemes, pay yourself type of things. There's this fascination with complexity, and if it's really hard to understand, then it must be right, and that is just not the case. You can build really simple portfolios with a handful of investments and never have to worry about them again. It's not, that part is not challenging to construct something.
Another thing that advanced brain can do is it tends to be good at rationalization. That it could sell itself on its own infallibility. And so I think that's interesting for people who are really smart that make bad decisions, is they're going to do whatever it is their whim, and then they're just going to justify it after the fact. So Dame, let's do this. We'll come back. We'll give more real world examples, and then we'll break down the psychology behind dumb money moves from two dumb guys. That's next on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. Missed opportunity. Should have said two done guys.
Yeah. Squeeze it in there.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Herculean Meal Prep. I'm telling you, I've been thinking about this ad a lot this week, actually. And I want to speak very bluntly to you. If you are in this situation where you're heading towards the end of the year and you're thinking, well, I might have a New Year's resolution to get in better shape like I do every January 1st, get into your diet being on point first. Mm-hmm. Sure, the physical activity is great, but if you are minding your macros in a delicious, nutritious, and convenient way, the way you can at Herculean Meal Prep, it will change everything. It has changed everything for me. So much so, I don't know if this is helpful. I'm out of town for 2 days. It comes lunchtime. The dinner bell goes off in my head. And I'm like, I don't have a freezer and a microwave. What do I do? I don't even know how to eat for 2 days. I'm back in the office now. And I'll tell you this, Dame, I have started adding a second Herculean Meal Prep meal into my day. One for breakfast, one for lunch. Next thing you know, I'm Tommy Lasorda and I'm drinking a shake. But that is why I think if you really want to get your nutrition under control, give them a shot. Herculean Meal Prep. That's not Neal Prep. That's a different business. HerculeanMealPrep.com. It's frozen. They'll ship it to you, or you can pick it up if you live in the central Indiana area. Herculean Meal Prep.
What's on the menu for today, Pete?
Steak and eggs for breakfast. Already ate that, which I did have with a protein shake.
Yeah.
They've got a cowboy burger bowl, but that's like double beef. So I don't know. Maybe street corn chicken is probably what I'll probably do.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of these days I'm going to break down and hit up one of their stores and buy a whole slug of them and just see how it goes. Or mail order, either one.
Whether you order a man or a woman, that's up to you.
Yeah.
I don't think Kristen's watching this week. I hope she's not watching this week. Chris, please don't be watching right now. If you do, just like get off this thing.
And send me a message, a text real quick to say, okay, fine. And then we'll know that you were watching.
Dame, it is fall break. Have you ever thought when we were kids that fall break was possibly a Thursday and a Friday and that's it? And now it's an entire week, and in some districts 2 weeks?
Pete, I didn't have a fall break when I was in school. I had a day off, basically because the fair was in town, and all the kids, well, not all, but a lot of the kids were participating in 4-H activities during the county fair. And so it was just easier to shut everything down and pick up a day at the end of the year.
Hot take alert. I know that school is not daycare. Because in fact, in some circles, if you say, well, school acts as daycare, people get really, really upset. Like lots of people.
Yeah.
Which means, and so I'll note this. I find the current school calendar insensitive to people who can't afford to take off of work or to take PTO. And they're like, well, it's your responsibility. Well, it's a modern responsibility. Like, I just find it insensitive. Maybe I'm nuts.
I don't disagree. I will pile on that. I don't even think it's a hot take. One of my biggest pet peeves right now is when one of your children sends you a message and says, hey, practice is going to be over 45 minutes early tonight. Come get me. Not that big of a deal for us, but there are plenty of families that can't rearrange their schedule just to drop everything and go pick up a kid 45 minutes early. So it's a slight skewed version of the same thing that you were talking about.
I don't know how we found ourselves here, especially with my next statement. Imagine you're a single parent working stringent hours,
mm-hmm.
and you don't have a network, a tribe around to help out with it. What do? You just don't put your kids in activities?
To make sure they got a book to read, I guess.
I don't know. Anyway, what is wrong with us? What are we doing?
It took us just over one segment to devolve into grumpy old guys again.
So true. I was accused of wearing wrestling boots this morning by a coworker. Do you want to see them? Because I don't feel like, I don't know. You tell me. I don't
want you to hurt yourself.
That's high.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
We'll not do that.
Oh.
Peter down. That was not
what?
Good.
Kind of. All right. Let's get back to the show. 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show. I'm Pete the Planner. Ugh, it's weird. I'm Peter Dunn. At one point, I got a nickname, Pete the Planner. And so to introduce myself as Pete the Planner is awkward. Hello. Yeah. Damian Dunn's here. Hi, Dame.
Ew. I mean, that was awkward. No, that's what people have called me for. Actually, is this the only time of the week that you use my full government name?
Actually, as I was writing the show description yesterday, I wrote Damien and then I changed it to Dame. So yeah, it's weird.
That's all right. Just one of those little things.
What's weird is when people send feedback into, how their experience went with their team and people call you Damien. And I'm like, who's that? All right. So let's talk about the psychology behind dumb money moves. And let's separate money here for a second. Smart people do dumb stuff all the time.
Oh yeah, not just in money. Sure.
Yeah. And dumb people do smart stuff.
Yes.
I love that we're making it binary. There are smart and there are dumb.
Yeah, well, why not? It's just two options.
Let's just alienate everybody. So let's talk about loss aversion as one of the sort of psychological elements behind this. Is that smart people, based on how they view risk, might say, I don't want to lose because losing feels twice as bad as winning feels good. And that, I think that resonates with all of us in some capacity, like in a good way too. Dame, I don't gamble.
Yeah.
Which is a smart thing. Even though I'm dumb, because I don't want to lose money.
Not totally. And there was a study done, and I do not remember who did the study, but it showed that to get the equivalent emotional reaction, somebody had to win $100 or lose $50. It was the same emotional reaction. So it goes exactly to this, is that we are wired, for whatever reason, that the losses sting way more than the pleasure that the equivalent win brings us. So it's a bit of a struggle for us when it comes to money issues.
And the other part of that too is when a person starts to lose and they sort through it, is the doubling down to get back even. I think about the first time I went to Vegas with my friend, 21, driving him out to school in California, road trip from Indiana out to the University of the Redwoods or Redlands. No one knows where he went. I don't. Anyway, we stopped in Vegas and he said, I've got a foolproof method for roulette.
Oh, he did too?
Yeah.
Because I have a story about roulette, but that's
okay. Well, it's the same story, I'm sure. Yeah. It's you put a certain amount down on either red or black, and then if you fail, then you put twice the same amount down. And if you fail, you put twice the amount of that. And he's like, you can't lose. And I'm like, hey, I have $170 in my checking account. So I think I've already lost. The double down to get even happens to the smartest of people when they start doing poor man's odds in their head.
Yeah, same thing happened to me. I eventually went through all the money I had because my foolproof plan didn't work. So I did what any rational human being would do in Vegas.
ATM.
I went to the ATM and got more money out. And you know what? That didn't last either because my foolproof plan, I was just partly right. I was a fool. That was me at that point. So, doubling down, I mean, part of me gets, when we're talking about effort, like maybe athletic endeavors or something, you have a hiccup or a bump in the road, you double down on your efforts. I get that. There's some, you can romanticize that to some degree, but when it comes to your finances, you got to know when to stop digging when you realize you're in a hole. You just got to know.
Let's say there's this alternate universe in which there's a version of me in a disagreement with my wife of 25 years.
Okay. I mean, give me a second to put my mind in that space, but okay.
And let's say that I'm losing the discussion.
I mean, this is a stretch.
Okay, but let's just say.
Okay.
So I throw a verbal haymaker and double down to try to get back up to even. It's the same thing as we're talking about here if that were to happen, You
wouldn't do that. I mean, this is why you're telling me just to imagine this, right?
Well, imagine it. I mean, like, I haven't always been this wise.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Good point.
Let's talk about overreaction and myopia. Constant updates trigger emotional overtrading. So I was actually talking to a fellow this morning, and he says, I check my stonks 2 to 3 times a day, even though I know I shouldn't. And that level of over inspection can cause some serious issues.
I just had this conversation with somebody this week as well. They're in fantastic shape financially, but they check their holdings multiple times a day. And I got to the point where I said to say, how frequently are you making transactions in this account? And the response was shocking. If you had to guess how many transactions, let's go a week, that this person was making in their account, what do you think it was?
Well, I hope it's 0, but I know it's not 0.
It was actually like 2 on average, which was a week, which as often as they check, I can't imagine the discipline that it would take to be that interested and not make changes.
FOMO and hurting is the next one. Fear of missing out. Seeing others win fast creates envy and risk blindness. Dame, let's say that you are a smart man for a moment. We're doing a lot of hypotheticals today.
I'm going to need a break after this show.
Let's say you were smart and you have a friend that did something awesome and risky, and they got away with it. And you thought to yourself, well, I'm smarter than that person, so this is going to work for me. Yeah. Can you imagine a scenario in which a smart person might do that, where someone who is not as smart as them gets away with a bad move, and then therefore the smart person says, well, I can do better than that, and then they're in trouble?
Yeah, we see this not infrequently when somebody makes a social media post or talks to their friends about they bought XYZ at an amazing price, and they've done nothing but get tons of return on it. So then you go buy XYZ because you don't want to miss out on that. And lo and behold, that run is pretty much over, and it'll turn and you'll end up losing a little bit of money. But while on the other side, your friend's still considerably up because they probably just got lucky when they bought that thing.
My favorite part of this discussion is where we're going next, and that is that smart people tend to think they're above average at about everything, which is statistically impossible.
Yes.
And like, even as I'm sorting through this with a sense of self-awareness, I'm thinking, okay, what is something I'm willing to admit in a true, honest sense that I'm probably below average in? And then I started down some paths, Dame. I started thinking, like solving medical issues at home. But then I thought, no, actually, I probably am above average because there's a lot of dummies. Then I thought, well, home improvement, that's not really something. Yeah. You know what? I probably am above average because there's a lot of dummies. And so, like, it's not uncommon for really smart people just to look at the financial landscape and just say, well, I obviously am pretty good at this. And they're wrong, like I am.
And what people don't understand is that some of the people with the absolute best returns get them by not doing anything or very, very little.
And it's that we are going to put some guardrails in place for you, whether you're smart or done. Guardrails for smart people. That's next on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner.
Do you feel better?
Shake your head at
you
me.
Feel better?
Don't shake your bald head at me. Dave, you ever listen back to the podcast?
We've gone over this. I did a long time ago, but that is long past.
Can we do some inside baseball here right now and just everyone just agree to just let it pass as Dave and I chat through this?
Everybody plug your ears.
So I was listening I just wanted to hear some element of some joke that Kristen made or something last week. So I started listening to it. The sound quality of our podcast is terrible.
Are you kidding?
I think it's bad. And I have two theories or ideas as a above average intelligent person. Number one, I think Streamcast or what do we do? StreamYard. What we do for audio, I think it stinks. Not a sponsor.
Yeah, no, if they were, they definitely aren't going to be now.
Number two, I'll take some blame for this one. So I get some choices. I can do a blended audio track of all of our discussions, which means when one person talks, the other person jarbles. It's like that shut-off effect.
Yeah.
And that's a big reason it stinks, because if you're telling a joke and I give you like everything cancels out and it's bad. So what I could do is I could download the separate tracks. Mm-hmm. I didn't even do it for the show because I forgot. And then stitch them together, and I think it would improve the sound quality. But also, Dame, ain't nobody got time for that.
So we have to find another
I don't know. Maybe.
host.
Just does anyone else agree? Oh, they're watching the live stream. So, well, actually, the live stream has the jarbled audio too.
You couldn't have told me this at a worse time, because now it'll eat at me for the rest of the show too.
It's not your fault. I'm the dummy.
I know, but I like thinking that we put out a high quality. I like putting out a high quality.
I blame Kristen's mic.
Yeah, that's for the next 5 weeks we can blame Kristen's mic.
I love it. It's just as you said that, your sound blipped.
Dang it, Kristen.
Okay. I was listening to the Theo Von podcast on my flight, and he interviewed Ken Burns, and it was one of the weirdest interviews I've ever heard in my entire life. And I don't mean that critically in like a negative, cynical sense. It was just so weird.
I don't know anything about Ken Burns' like personality, just like in a casual conversation. But based on his creative style, it seems like that would have been a juxtaposition of epic proportions.
Yeah, here's the thing, Dame. He was a delightful man.
Really?
Yeah,
yeah.
He was a yes and sort of person. Like he would roll with what, and I think a lot of super intelligent people aren't great at yes and, because you think of him as an academic.
Right, yeah, sure.
And so like the little jokes that Theo does, you'd think you get caught up and be like, oh, but it was like so weird. You got to listen to it. If you got hours in the car this weekend, listen to it.
I do. I also have kids in the car this weekend.
Earbuds. Put in earbuds. Ignore your family, bro.
that would, you know what? Everybody else, now that you mention it, everybody else has a screen and is listening or doing something else. Why don't I just have my own? That's a heck of an idea.
You know what? You and I are going to do something special this weekend. It's going to be called Ignore Your Family Weekend.
It's going to be a big challenge for me based on what our plan is.
Well, I can not ignore your partner, but let's ignore our kids this weekend.
Is that a train whistle that you have shaking around there?
Why would I not have a train whistle on my desk?
It's a great point.
I got some weird stuff on my desk. I really do. I mean, let's do it. I've got a train whistle.
Yeah.
Got a foam roll of $100 bills.
That's a great stress toy, by the way. I was squeezing it while I was in your office.
That's awkward. Yeah. Squeeze my toy. I've got an eyeglass screwdriver. I've got a boxed air tag. And a miniature bottle of water that satisfies a gerbil only because it's so small.
Got any booze in that room?
Yeah, because you brought it to me. Yeah, let's not go through my desk like Boo Radley's knothole. Let's keep it moving here. Okay. By the way, I can joke about ignoring my kids this week because my kids don't listen to my show, right? So they're ignoring me.
Yeah. The nerve.
No, I couldn't have told you this. So last weekend, my daughter is working on a big 2-year academic project. And so it started something like that. I wasn't paying attention. Anyway, so she needed to go to a couple different like real libraries to get this done. So on Sunday morning, I took her to Butler University Library. And so it's her and me as her chaperone. Like she could have gone herself. She drives, but she was like, do you want to go? And I was like, wait, are you asking me to spend time with you? Yes, I'm in. I'll do whatever. Because I really do like her. Do you know how creepy it is to be a 47-year-old man at a college library?
Would you have rather been the creepy 47-year-old guy than have your daughter come home and say, I got a phone number?
Actually, it's somewhat normal, right? Like not for her. I'm saying like it's a normal human experience. But I mean, I felt so creepy. I almost reported myself.
She's a junior in high school, Pete. If somebody in college has given her a phone number, I might have an issue.
Like she can sort it out.
Okay. Yeah. But yes.
Okay, Dave, let's just say you're a junior in high school.
Yeah.
And someone in college gives you a phone number. I trusted you to sort that out. Did you sort it out?
Nobody gave me their phone number, Pete.
Yeah, well, it's a bad hypothetical for you. Happened all the time to me, and I sorted it out.
Good for you.
I never happened to me. Let's continue the financial show. Do you ever wonder when the IBJ newsletter goes out that promotes this show, the Indianapolis Business Journal, which is the media network we're on, and people click on the link, they're at work, they got a serious career, and they start listening to this, looking for financial information, and then they find themselves going, what is this? I think about that every week when that newsletter comes out. Do you ever think about that someone is like, oh, okay, and they start listening and they're like, what?
I've never listened to our show through the IBJ, and so I'm just wondering if our producer heavily edits our show and makes it a little bit more IBJ appropriate, drops in a few commentaries of his own, just to make it feel like he's bantering with us. And I don't know, I have a hard time believing that what we're doing right now actually makes it to the vaunted pages.
I have to tell you, I have zero interest in doing a financial show that's about money. Like I wouldn't do it. I'd just be like, all right, well, that part of my career is over. It's so uninteresting. Not that what we're talking about is interesting, but it's interesting to me.
Yeah. So like what topics would be out of bounds for you when it comes to money ideas?
A great money show?
Yeah.
Like you start getting in a portfolio recommendation, just like every bad weekend financial radio show in the world.
I gotcha.
Hi, I'm Carl Stevens, and I'm Rick Canterbury. And if you have questions about your portfolio and you have over $250,000 to invest, call us at the Money Fellas. Like it's every weekend show, and it stinks.
I would listen to a segment of those guys. They sound amazing.
What if we do the next segment as characters from that show? Speaking of comedy, can I I got to text Danny Dunn, show comedian here today. So I'm opening my keynote yesterday and I'm setting up my a classic joke that I will do, the hotel bar one. I'm sure I've told it to you. Yeah. So I'm giving it, I'm going, people going, they're going, like the big punchline's coming. And at the last second, because all the little punches were going well, I add another tag to it right before the punchline, and the tag killed. And so people laughed so hard at that. And then when I hit the punchline, it was a beat down.
Yeah.
Oh my, it was the worst feeling in the world. Someone groaned at the punchline.
Oh no.
Like literally groaned. And then I had to start my money talk. And it was like, oh my gosh. That's never happened to me where you just like, I throw in tags all the time, but like never one that crushes a punchline I've been telling for 3 or 4 years.
So now the question is, does the tag stay?
Yeah, that's what I want to talk to Danny about. It's like, well, how do you reshape that? You know? Andy brings up a good point. If we do the next segment that way, it would really confuse the radio listener. Singular. 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show, the money show you turn to for money stuff. We're talking about why smart people do dumb things. Maybe you're a smart person and you're listening to this show and you're going, Anyway, we want to put in place some guardrails for you smarts. Damian Dunn joins me as always. Kristen Elanius is on maternity leave with a brand new baby named Margaret, who is nearly 0 years old. Dame, rule 1, guardrail 1 for smart people to make sure they don't do dumb stuff with their money. You start. What do you got?
I think there needs to be a separation of spending and yield. Like, what are you chasing at this point? Because oftentimes people will find themselves taking way more risk than they absolutely need to achieve their financial goals. Talked with somebody this week about the concept of an investor policy statement or investment policy statement, where you can lay everything out, make sure that the professional you're working with and you are on the same page, knowing what's inbounds, what's out of bounds, and what you're actually trying to accomplish to get there. Because if you're trying to be the smartest guy in the room or girl in the room, and you end up making some investments that are outside of your risk profile, it could come back and have a detrimental effect on everything else that you've worked so hard to accomplish. So if you can figure out how much money you plan on spending for retirement or whatever financial goal you're chasing, and you can kind of determine the risk that you need to assume in order to get there on an annual basis, it's going to prevent you from having to look at yourself in the mirror and say, man, I shouldn't have done that, because it didn't provide any tangible benefit to me and my long-term financial goals.
I think this is actually a complicated issue. I think, and I'll illustrate. Let's say I work with my advisor, and we agree that if I'm able to average 6.5% yield and take 4%, that there's a great degree of certainty that I'll have a sustainable, repeatable retirement. Okay, so 6.5% yield, 4% income, and I should be good to go. People mess that up a lot. I mean, maybe that's your point of like, oh, well, yeah, 6.5%, but like I can get 13. And it's like, well, when you swing for 13 and you fail, you're getting 2, and then the whole thing's thrown off.
And it comes back to, what's the ultimate goal? Do you want a smooth retirement experience? I don't know if that's the right phrase, but I used it. But are you also maybe hoping to leave your kids a huge pile of cash that you want to try and build whatever nest egg you've got to, maybe double that by the time you move on to post-retirement? If so, the risk you're going to take is different than if you just want to make sure that money's going to keep hitting your checking account month in, month out, regardless of what's going on in the markets. And there's different ways you can structure that with your investments along the way. But separating your investments from the money you want to spend, big concept that a lot of people could do a much better job at understanding and implementing.
Guardrail number 2, slow the decision cycle. Add the old 24-hour rule. I think I said this at our old team meeting last week, Dame, of careers are made by the emails you don't send,
Yeah.
You type up some pithy response, and then you're like, let me just let that marinate in the draft for a little bit. Then you wake up the next morning, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and 86 this thing. From a spending perspective or big decision perspective, I think a lot of people, including myself or me, I don't know how to say that, would benefit from this. I've made some pretty rash financial decisions that I was able to justify quickly.
Just talked to Mrs. Advice last night about one that we are rethinking about, I should say. We had planned on making the purchase, and after some contemplation, I said, hey, maybe that's not the best use of those dollars. And thankfully, it wasn't something we were going to have to make on a short-term basis. So it's given us time, at least me time, to go back and reflect and say, you know what, maybe there's a better purpose for those dollars. So having a bit of friction in the process before you spend or commit some dollars or something can be really, really beneficial.
I would love to know what that is. Will you tell me off the air?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh, the hesitation there was like, oh, what is this going to be? All right, number 3. What's the number 3 guardrail we should take a look at?
You can play around. You can have financial fun money if you want, but it needs to have a cap on it. So I'm sure you ran into this too, Pete, when you were working with clients. You've always got somebody that's going to say, well, I still dabble a little on the side, and I've got some stocks that I really like and I trade in and out of. And okay, great. But let's make sure that the rest of your assets are still going to get you to that ultimate long-term financial goal. And if these pan out, great, go to Tahiti for an extra week when you're retired. Who knows? But if they don't, no harm, no foul. You're still on track to get everything taken care of. So if you've got fun money, wonderful. Treat it like a hobby budget. don't use retirement funds.
Number 4, use structure and delegation. So, index funds are a great way. Hi, I'm Rick Canterbury, and index funds are a great addition to your portfolio. Index funds can just they're boring, but they work, and unless you start using leveraged ETFs, they prevent you from trying to outsmart everything, which is smart.
Yeah, like I said in the last segment, you don't have to have a super complicated portfolio to have a successful portfolio. I mean, you could have 3 funds if you wanted to and have a super diversified portfolio that would probably hold up in the vast majority of economic conditions. So the fact that you think you may need, very specialized investments here or there, could they benefit you? Yeah, potentially. But you don't have to complicate it. Use something that is simple that you understand. Use automation when at all possible to make this work. And don't try and outsmart the room. Just do the basics.
As I'm sitting here participating in this show today, it's hard for me not to think that intelligent people listening to it are going, yeah, but none of this stuff applies to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Those people probably tuned out a while ago, honestly, but it's a very real possibility that there are people listening to our voices right now that say, I guess that kind of makes sense, but I've had a lot of success doing it the way I do it, and there's no reason to change.
Gosh, the parallels here between drinking or smoking or drug use or nutrition or fitness, when it comes to all of these things as sort of discretionary behaviors, it just feels like the same thing. I mean, for that matter, my biggest hot button issue in the world is the use of time, and people think they can outsmart time. Sure. They shortcut time.
Yeah.
As you look at all of, let's say, all of maybe those elements I just mentioned, and then maybe ones that I didn't, is there one that you tend to think you're outsmarting if you're being really honest with yourself?
Boy. I would probably need, this will come as no shock to you, I probably need some more introspection before I can give you a good answer on that. I don't know. There's got to be something. If I'm being completely honest, there's got to be something that I think I am just way ahead of the curve on. It doesn't jump to mind.
Yeah, I'm thinking about time is probably mine. I always think I'm so clever with my time, but as my friends Chip and Neil point out, I'm usually sitting in a parking lot for 30 minutes before a meeting, and they're like, do you not realize this? You're wasting time. And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like I'm getting stuff done on my phone, or I'm consuming news or something, but I still think I'm probably outsmarting myself.
Yeah, I don't like that because I do the same thing.
Man, you're the best, Dave. Let's do this. Let's calm down. You're really worked up. And we'll come back and we'll do biggest waste of money of the week. And as it turns out, there's a tremendous number of current financial events going on in our world today. And so we'll cover some of those too. All that's next on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. I'm Dave Jenkins.
And I'm Sam Jones.
And we're here to help your portfolio grow.
So call us at 1-800-THE-MINS.
I don't know. I ran out of steam.
The who?
The men's. I know, because there are 2 men. Plural men's.
Okay.
Look, they can't all be good. Like I've said, good jokes are important to be placed next to bad jokes.
They could have used a tag.
Okay, let's continue the show because I have to do it. An 8-minute teleprompter read after this.
Really?
8 minutes.
Do you get latitude? Do you get latitude in that, or is it have?
I don't know. I was assigned the project, and now, of course, I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing this in one take. I don't really care. I don't know.
Good luck.
Do you want to do a little bet here of whether I can do it in one take?
Oh, I know you can do it in one take. But will you be satisfied with that one take?
I don't know. Thought I had a B performance yesterday in Dallas. It was good, but it was just like the joke at the beginning totally threw me.
What everybody that's listening has to realize is that Pete's B is phenomenal for most presenters. So
yeah, but I got to live with myself. I got to look in the mirror, see like Bobby Flay gone wrong. That's what I used to look a lot more like Bobby Flay, and he's like aged gracefully, and now I look like there's been a nuclear explosion.
You're catching up to him, though. You're making up for time.
I don't know. His hair, he still got. We had the same haircut. Let's do a financial show
again.
Oh boy, here we go. And 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week, right here on the Pete the Planner Show, is the Samsung 115-inch Neo QLED 4K TV, an ideal alternative to home projectors.
Time out.
Go ahead.
Ideal replacement for projectors has to take into account price, right?
That's fair. We'll see. We'll make that discussion, that decision.
Samsung's 115-inch Class Neo QLED 4Q QN90F display provides a massive picture all on its own. It's equipped with the powerful NQ8 AI Gen 3.
Time out.
Thank goodness you said Gen 3, because if you were going to say Gen 2, I was going to say this is, like 5 years old.
Why are things called Samsung 115-inch Class Neo QLED 4K QN90F? Who thought that's a good idea?
Samsung's marketing / it's just whatever. That's nobody thinks that's a good idea, but nobody buys a TV for its name, so it's basically a way for it to keep it organized.
This is where pharmaceutical companies are superior. They got Sky Rizzy.
That's the exact one I was thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, no one knows what Sky Rizzy does, but I want whatever it is that I need that for.
Sounds like something the kids would be talking about.
I would love Sky Rizzy. Anyway, the processor delivers AI-enhanced picture quality via the Quantum Mini LEDs with automatic upscaling of lower resolution content and Dolby Atmos sound optimized for the larger screen. It's also glare-free for a premium daytime viewing experience, has dynamic refresh technology with support for games running up to 4K 144 hertz, and runs the Tizen OS with support for thousands of streaming apps right out of the very large box. Dame, how much does it cost to have a 115-inch TV that does look quite beautiful installed in your barn?
I mean, that's essentially like a panoramic window on somebody's wall in their house. You could put any number of scenes out there, and it might feel like you're looking out a window. 115 inches, Gen 3 technology. This is going to be like, it's got to be close to 10 grand.
Oh, 27,000 American dollars. Dame, what's in the news this week?
I think that was close to 10 grand. It looks like investors are doing what toddlers do when the playground gets scary. That's running to mom's lap, or in this case, gold. The shiny stuff passed $4,000 an ounce for the first time ever this week, up more than 50% since January. That makes this gold's best year since 1979, which also happens to be the same year that My Sharona was a hit. So it's been a while. Analysts say that it's all about fear and uncertainty. The U.S. government still shut down. France just lost another prime minister. I mean, stepped down. He didn't just wander off and go explore the Maginot Line. And Japan's facing new debt worries. In short, chaos makes gold sparkle. Central banks are stockpiling it. Investors are loading up on gold ETFs, and even hedge fund billionaires are calling it the safer bet. Please note, that is their investment advice, not ours. Ray Dalio says, maybe put 15% of your portfolio in gold, which sounds great if you've got a portfolio that can spare 15%. And if you're not into gold, Bitcoin is on a bit of a rip too, hitting record highs, topping $125,000 this week as well. So, Pete, do we buy gold, Bitcoin, or do we spend the cash and start building the bunkers in the backyard?
Yeah, I'm doing some math over here. I know it's a Friday when we record this. I'm less than 2% in alternative investments.
Okay.
You care to disclose yours? You don't have to.
I was afraid you were going to ask me that because I don't know that I have a dedicated sleeve of alternatives right now.
The gold thing is interesting to me, but if people are fleeing to it, isn't that the wrong time to buy it?
Yes.
Isn't it? I mean, it's the odd lot theory. Like you can't, everyone's doing it. I'm not, I'm now less interested in doing it.
Now, the Bitcoin evangelist would say there's never a bad time to buy Bitcoin because everything else is going to go to zero. So pile in, everybody.
Because they're believers. You got to believe in the investment.
They are share. They believe.
What else is in the news?
Well, the IRS just announced that it's furloughing nearly half of its workers, in this case, about 34,000 people, because of the ongoing government shutdown. The other half, which the math works out to about 40,000 employees, not sure how that works, are still on the job handling what the agency calls, quote, essential operations. In an internal message, the IRS said most operations are now closed and anyone not considered accepted is officially a non-pay, non-duty status, and they should get the back pay when the shutdown ends, but there's already been some noise inside the administration about whether that's guaranteed. And remember, this comes after the IRS already lost about a quarter of its workforce earlier in the year when President Trump returned to office and pushed through mass layoffs. So between job cuts and now furloughs, this is not exactly a peak performance moment for tax prep season.
Can I comment on the Ray Dalio thing real quick and then come back to this story? Because I have comments on both. So he's telling people to have a 15% position.
Up to.
And so in order for people to do that, they're going to have to trade and get there and drive the price higher, which means he's holding a lot.
Yeah.
Like he's holding tons of gold.
Yep.
Genius. Dame, you like a properly sized government.
I haven't had one of those in a long time, but yes.
Yeah, I know. How do you, if we could isolate it to the IRS, and I know it's not that simple. I'm just, we want it properly staffed.
Yes.
I think it was the Biden administration had like a wild number of hires. I'm going to make it up. Something like 80,000.
That number
hires.
Bell, actually.
That seems like a lot. I don't know if that's the right amount, but I don't know if we're approaching or we're at the right amount. It feels like we're short.
I would love to go back and see like what the IRS staff has looked like over the years, like the number in that, and see where we're at in relation to how many were there 15 years ago, and just see for comparison's sake. But I'm all about efficient government. That doesn't mean that it's strained and not able to do the work, but I also don't think there's any room or desire for additional staffing if it's not required.
Now, I know it is October 15th is an important day in the tax world. For those that don't know, it's when extensions are due. But theoretically, it's a pretty low risk time to lay off half of the IRS. It's not like it's February, which would be a disaster.
That'd be a separate problem entirely.
Dane, what else is in the news?
Just quick, the weird fantasy sports news. 2026 brackets are out. I didn't even know the IRS had a league, but they're out. So if you want to go check them, go check the tax brackets.
Yes, I like it. So I saw capital gains tax went up for some.
Yeah, and it's there's always some adjusting of whether you realize it or not. The brackets always change from year to year. The tax rates themselves won't, but the brackets do change. So it's possible there's going to be a few people out there that have a little bit different liability this year.
It's going to be a strange few months. Let's check in real quick before we leave the show, Dame. Shutdown prediction. When does it end?
Still a couple of weeks, but by the end of October, I'll say.
Okay. I don't know why. I'm about to say this. I'll take the over.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Okay.
I think if we blow past October 15th effortlessly, which is when troops are to be paid, then it's going to be a long time. And I leave you with that. Send you good vibes, because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the Pete the Planner Show. Boy. Yeah.
That was fun.
Maybe. Okay.
Okay.
What do you got? You got anything fun the rest of the day? I'm sure you got some calls.
I got calls. Gotta go sign some legal paperwork after work.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then,
I think it's really nice that you added me as a beneficiary.
Yeah, I'll have to double check that.
Double check that.
Yeah.
I've got, no one cares, I'm going to record an 8-minute teleprompter video. Good Lord. Job interview. I'm not applying for jobs. I'm not applying for them. You know, one-on-one and investor update. I mean, there you go.
Yeah. I might have put you as a contingent executor, but not.
I would proudly execute your wishes.
I would not put that stress on you, especially from 2 hours away.
And especially knowing that I'll die before you. All right, everyone. That's all we got this week. Kristen, if you happen to have been listening, we miss you. We hope Maggie is doing well as Maggie's father. We hope he is getting the sleep that he deserves. And Kristen, we also hope that you get some sleep if it's possible as well. Stay getting money. I really do think
Do you want the real scoop on what's happening in Indiana business? Check out the IBJ podcast. I'm Mason King, and each week I sit down with people who make news in Indiana to get insights and perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. It's business, but you won't need an MBA. The guests run the gamut from CEOs, developers, and sports executives to artists and chefs and financial planners. If there's a theme, it's that everything has a cost. And success often depends on how you define profit and loss. So if you want to deepen your understanding of the people and projects shaping Indiana, give the IBJ podcast a try. You can find it at ibjpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.